Sunday, and it kicks off with the clash that I really didn't want. Gaelic Warrior versus Factifile. Oh no, this is good for you because you've backed Gaelic Warrior in an anti-post double with Marie Nationale for Cheltenham, Marie Nationale for the Arkle, Gaelic Warrior for the Turners. Bad for me and Katie and George and everybody who's followed us in, because I'm convinced Factifile will be going for the Turners and I think he'll win it. I think he's the horse who can beat Gaelic Warrior this weekend as well. He doesn't like going left. He can win left-handed. Obviously, he won handicap hurdle at Leopardstown's DRF last year.
He was pretty right that day, though, the straight, wasn't
he? Yeah, Lydia Hislop and Ruby Walsh did a visual comparison of the Irish champion hurdle, Facile Vega's run in the Tattersalls 2 mile grade 1, with Gaelic Warrior winning the handicap hurdle. And Facile Vega finished before Gaelic Warrior crossed the line. So he was a good winner of a handicap hurdle, but he's just compromised going left-handed. I see him as an exceptional horse going right-handed, compromised going left-handed. He's more likely to get away with it at the DRF, where there's plenty of opportunity to run in a straight line and jump in a straight line, whereas at Cheltenham, you're constantly on the turn. You're constantly turning left, and that won't suit Gaelic Warrior going right-handed.
I think that's why they've alluded to the Turners rather than the Arkle. I think people were even saying, even if he had taken on Marie Nationale, I was listening to Joe Chambers on a podcast the other day, and they were kind of hinting that even if he would have taken on Marie Nationale and gone close, or even it wouldn't have been a given that he would have gone for the Arkle at Cheltenham. That's all irrelevant now anyway. Obviously, he wasn't declared this morning for that race. So I think the Turners on the new course, which obviously is a bit more galloping, was the reason given. It seems to be Patrick and Ruby have both spoken at that in length in various interviews. So I think that is the race he'll go for. It is a slight concern. Like you say, at Leopardstown, the back straight is a lot more straight, the jockeys say, but I think there's the option there as well. You've seen at Christmas the way Paul went wide on quite a few horses, Grangeclare West, Gallop and Deschamps wide into the straight. You could go on the outside wing really and then take that route. So he'd be giving up ground in terms of when he's going around the bends, but at least in his fences he'd be on the wide outside. So I'd be surprised if Factifile could beat him, to be honest. I know people were getting carried away. I know you were really impressed. I like this performance at Christmas, but for me, it wasn't on the same level. I think it must have been after Marie Nationale one. I think I posted a tweet about that being spoilt in the Novice Chase division with LA France, Gaelic Warrior, Marie Nationale, and the amount of people who replied with Factifile, and I was like, well, I wouldn't have put them in that bracket personally myself at that stage. Like, but
I would.
We shall see. Listen, he done nothing wrong. I like the way he jumped. I didn't think it was the strongest beginner's chase in the world. I like Grangeclare West at Christmas, to be honest. And the one thing with I know that was like churned out a lot in the build-up to it, but it was true that the season before he won his maiden hurdle and he struggled in two starts afterwards, and it was only when he arrived at Punchestown fresh that he bounced back to form. So it was good to see him put 2 back-to-back performances together, because he was good on debut and he was really good. And I don't think coming back in trip from the 3 miles of the Neville hotels, I don't think that's too much of an inconvenience to him. So anyone who's in behind him, I'd be surprised if they were able to turn the form around. I did notice just before we come on air that Corbett's Cross, I know he's obviously not going to Sandown. He's been given an entry on Wednesday at Fairyhouse in a rated chase, so maybe that's on Wednesday over 3 miles, so maybe that's a possibility for him. I wonder
if Corbett's Cross does take up that engagement in Fairyhouse. Does this mean George Gorman's theory that he's going to be JP's National Hunt Chase horse, which case Derek O'Connor would be on board? Does this give further credence to that?
He'd be qualified already, wouldn't he? He ran over 3 miles last time, so he will be qualified. But it will be an option. It'd be an easier stepping stone to Cheltenham. 4
winners of this race have gone on to win at the Cheltenham Festival. Let me hit you with some stats about Factifile. Racing Post ratings have Gaelic Warrior 164, which is the exact same figure they've got Factifile on. Time form give Gaelic Warrior 169p. They give Factifile 168p. 2 of the biggest ratings organizations in racing have very little or identical ratings for these 2 horses, and yet Gaelic Warrior is the shorter price for the Turners. This Factifile, this is Gallop on Deschamps 2.0. JP cloned him, gave him a different pedigree, and presented him as this guy. And I'm convinced that the reason Dream to Share was bought last year.
Gallop and Deschamps wouldn't have been beaten by American Mike on debut. Come on.
American Mike's a funny old horse. When he's on a going day, he's very, very good.
Yeah, he was actually on that day.
Yeah, he was
actually on a going day that day.
He got out of his bed that day. He had his Weatherbys. He felt like it. He just didn't feel like it at all in the Fahey Novice Chase. He's just a weird horse, American Mike. Very, very talented, but dearie me, he can throw in a bad one. I think Factifile is a serious racehorse. I'm convinced the Turners is the race they're going to go for. Everything that Willie Mullins has said and the way he's been communicating about him, particularly on race day, he's been emphasizing about not really wanting to go 3 miles with him this year, but seeing him as a Gold Cup horse for the future. Sir de Champs ran in the Turners, Gallop on the Champ ran in the Turners, and Factifile is going the exact same Gallop on the Champ route, winning that novice chase, the very same novice chase at the Leopardstown Christmas meeting, then coming here, winning, and then going to Cheltenham. Hopefully the landing gear actually comes out and he goes and wins this time. So I'm with Factifile. No issue with him going left-handed. Gaelic Warrior compromised. Also, Paul Townend probably feels he's got a better chance of being able to win on Gaelic Warrior here than he does about taking on Marine Nationale, because Factifile is always going to be Mark Walsh's ride. So Factifile for me. What about you?
Gaelic Warrior.
It's on, baby.
Oh, it is on like Genghis Khan wearing Sean John in Bhutan.
A good run from Grangeclare West. He might win this, but third place to Gaelic Warrior or Factifile, not beaten far, would still have him as a serious player for the Brown Advisory.
I'd prefer Grangeclare West to Factifile myself, to be honest, on Sunday. But again, I've still got the doubts. I would really love to see Grangeclare West put in a third run together, and then he's clearly matured. He looks a more mature horse now. He should do his 8 compared to Gaelic Warriors.
Yeah,
Factifile's only 7, and obviously missed the year. Not missed the year, but he skipped his novice hurdle campaign, which I think is to do with his age and his physique, obviously, which isn't a bad. And I'd say that's got to be a huge positive for him as well, really, because Willie doesn't do that often. And I know plenty of comparisons will be made with Florida Pearl and things, but yeah, I'll be looking forward to that race actually on Sunday. That's one of the. Oh,
that's a cracker!
Certainly one of the more exciting races of the week.
Yeah. By the way, I have absolutely no interest in backing Factifile at 15-8 this weekend.
You're just loading up for the Turners, are you?
Oh, that's exactly. I'm backing them again. This is either going to be all duck or Tesco noodles for dinner, because I am going back in again for there is still 10-1 available with a couple of firms. Most of them have cut them to pretty short prices, but I think the average price is 5. Yes, so you can get 10-1 with Coral, Betfair. Everybody else has cut them down to 8-1 for the Turners.
Yeah, all the others most of them are non-running no bet now, aren't they? The ones who are 4 or 5-1.
Yeah, I mean that's great, but you're taking 4-1 and 5-1 then, in which case I have no interest. But 8-1, if you can get that, I still think that's very fair, and I'm more than happy to stick with them. Factifile for me, it's going to be a cracking race. With a view to Cheltenham, who is the one horse that you would advise Final Furlong podcast viewers and listeners to back now before the DRF or before the Sicily Isles Novice Chase with a view to the Cheltenham Festival?
You're going to go mad. Honestly, I struggled to find a horse for Cheltenham just this week. It's an anti-post really is all about timing in terms of
true.
A lot of the markets now are completely formed in terms of the only way if you've got a strong opinion on even if you've got a strong opinion on Ballyburn, you can't know for definite where he's going to go. And I was just struggling. The likes of, say, the novice chasers. I think the two favourites are going to be hard to beat. How much are they going to shorten in their respective markets already trading?
If Factifile wins, he's favourite for the Turners.
There you go. He'd be one if you were like you. If you were in a Factifile camp, back in there's that to bet, because if he turns Gaelic Warrior over, he's favourite. So
the dream's alive.
I'll advise you to back Factifile for the Turners again if you believe that he's going to beat Gaelic Warrior. So my best bets for the weekend come from elsewhere. I think there's trying to find out a little bit more competitive stuff.
Okay, who is your best bet for the weekend?
I've got 2. Got one on Saturday, so he's been declared. A horse called Wellington Arch in the bumper at Sandown, who's trained by John Joe O'Neill. John Joe's got a nice horse running in the big handicap. It'll actually called St. Davy, but I think the ground drying out there. I had that race between him and Ed Keeper. But the ground drying out there concerns me a little bit, whereas the bump horse Wellington Arch, he won on good ground at Worcester early in the season. Then he ran against a nice horse, Paul Nichols, called Regent Stroll. When I was down at Paul's in the summer, he was the one unraced horse at the time that, he just physically to look at, he was stunning. He goes for the valuable DBS sales bumper at Newbury in March, I think it is. So keeping the notebook, he won the Ascot race. Wellington Arch was held up by John Joe that day off a relatively slow pace, and he was conceding weight to the front too. So I think the fact that he finished third, he ran well in defeat. It's a decent looking bumper. There's a few previous winners in there, but I think he'll take a bit of beating. And then on Sunday, obviously we haven't got declarations yet, but there's a horse called Sleeping Satellite who's entered in the 2.5 mile handicap hurdle at Musselburgh. Currently only rated 108. I thought he might have gone novice handicap chasing this year. That's why I included them in the book, but he was kept to hurdles. He looked like he needed the run first time out, and then he ran well at Doncaster against the horse who was particularly well handicapped for Paul Nicholls, Ray Middleton, but I've been waiting for him to step up in trip. He wants drying ground, so he held an entry over 2 miles on Saturday, and he wasn't declared today, which is a positive. So I assume maybe they've got their eye on Sunday's race. 2.5 miles around a sharp track like that on drying ground, I think will be absolutely ideal for him. So Sleeping Satellite at Musselburgh on Sunday.
I like it. We should play Tasman Archer, but apparently,
I'm not going to sing it for you. So
I think
you might have to
YouTube guidelines means we're not allowed to play anything. They're a bit more boring than Spotify. This is Spotify. If we're just doing this on Spotify, just for the Spotify podcast, I think we could do it. But because it's going on YouTube as well, we can't. So sorry about that.
No one wants to listen to my dulcet tones, honestly.
I don't think you're even allowed to do the karaoke version. That's the sad thing about it. YouTube they don't mess about with this stuff. I think 3-1 about Fast or Slow is a little bit too big at the weekend, so I'm going to put him in a patent with Bunting at 10-1, who I think is just way too big for the Spring Juvenile hurdle. Bob Ollinger at 8-1. So Bunting, Bob Ollinger.
He's on. The Bob.
We're on, baby. Bunting and Bob Ollinger. They're the two main plays for me. In fact, to file to win at the Cheltenham Festival for the Turners. Specifically, the Turners. 8-1. You can still get 10s. 8-1 is widely available. Come on, Mark Walsh. Come on, get it done. Be favourite for the Turners. We're in a glorious position if that happens. And some of the winnings that you have after Paul's expertise can be invested in buying Paul's superb Weatherbys Cheltenham Festival Betting Guide. You can get your copy right now at weatherbyshop.co.uk. Use this code FF24CF. Capital letters FF24CF. You get yourself a £5 discount for the print copy, the digital copy, or the bundle. And the bundle is well worth getting because you still get the print copy in your hand and you get access to it in your MacBook, your iPad, your tablet, whatever you want on your phone. Weatherbyshop.co.uk or weatherbyshop.ie. FF24CF, £5 off your purchase of the Weatherbys Cheltenham Festival Betting Guide by the superb Paul Ferguson, who will be back on the Final Furlong podcast to talk us through some more Cheltenham chat very, very soon. Paul, all the best for the Dublin Racing Festival weekend, and I hope the preparation for that excellent Weatherbys Cheltenham Festival Betting Guide doesn't blow your head clean off.
Oh, no. We're nearly there now. 10, 11 days left to go, so I will be glad. I will be glad when it's over the line, and then I can actually get some sleep.
Superb. Thank you very much for watching and listening to the Final Furlong podcast. It's much appreciated. If you haven't already, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to us, hit the subscribe button to never miss an episode. And we're back with more great content on the show very, very soon, including a leading racehorse owner who'll be joining us on the podcast, an industry special with Sky Sports Racing's Josh Appiaffi. And of course, we're breaking down the Dublin Racing Festival with a view to the Cheltenham Festival. All the key talking points covered right here on the Final Furlong podcast. Have a great weekend. Look after yourself and each other. God bless.
Oh, it is on like Genghis Khan wearing Sean John in Bhutan.